This is the video journal of Dr. Jack Hawley Griffin, director of the Foundation. Once every century, an event occurs where the planets align, weakening the barriers between worlds, which causes things to come through it sometimes. For the last 120 so years, the Foundation has been creating the illusion that man is alone by containing these supernatural threats, as man will not understand and may not accept them willingly. But with the technological advancements that people have made with technology in the last century, with phones and cameras, people have started to catch sightings, glimpses of them, and there's only so many times we can brush it off as a hoax. So, when this event occurs again, when the planets align and weaken the barriers between worlds and dimensions, I fear this time we can't hide the truth, which is why we must prepare man for the existence of monsters. I've been assembling a team of individual beings to show man that not all monsters are evil and that there are good ones out there. I have been referred to as the Invisible Man, as I have the invisibility gene from my great-grandfather, the original Invisible Man. I have been running the Foundation now for at least 25 years with the help of Mr. Dorian Gray, and I have been recruiting Count Dracula, a vampire that was a warrior prince known as Vlad the Impaler, but became a blood-sucking demon, and all ever wanted was to reunite with his true love, which we managed to do, and is indebted to us. Another recruit was Frankenstein's monster, who all he ever desired was to exist, have a name and purpose which we gave to him, calling him Adam, educating him, and training him for combat. Another recruit, Lawrence Talbot, wanting to go by the name Larry, also known as the Wolfman, as he has a condition called lycanthropy, but with the help of our scientists and our medics and priests, he has found a way to tame the beast within and control his transformations without the full moon. However, under a full moon, he cannot control it. Another recruit we tried to get back in the 1930s was a mummy named Imhotep, a high priest of the pharaoh. However, due to the event happening, he was lost. We did, however, manage to recruit another creature, a gill man named Gillian, who was found by us in 1970s, and have managed to recently recruit him for this assemblement. Another one who returned recently was Dr. Henry Jekyll. Due to the event occurring, barriers between worlds were beginning to weaken again, and what had been days for him had been over a century for this world, as time moves differently, and is struggling to adjust to this modern world, as he is a man out of his time, while also trying to control the beast within him, known as Hyde. And another recruit which we found with the help of Count Dracula, a young woman by the name of Ava Van Helsing, the descendant of one of the Foundation's co-founders, Dr. Abraham Van Helsing, who we've helped train and show that she has the hunting gene within her too. I feel with these group of individuals, we can guide them and show man that not all monsters are evil, and that there are those that will protect man from the evil ones. A team that I put together, a squad, of monsters known as the Monster Squad. Outside of London, in a research facility funded by the Foundation, scientists continue to observe and keep an eye on the gates, which had imprisoned Imhotep and Akhaten back in the 30s, but it seems to start to overpower out of control as the event is nearing. One scientist tells them that this gate is opening now, which it then does, revealing a bright light before all flashes out, and then it is darkness, and the gate closes. Standing before them is none other than the evil Prince Akhaten, with a sinister grin, and looking upon them. He then asks, "What year is it?" I said, "What year is it?" One of the scientists tells him that the year is 2025 AD. Then Akhaten says, "Time has moved differently. What's been only months for me has been decades for this world." Akhaten then tells them that he wants them all to surrender and that they may live. Then Dorian Gray comes out and says, "My dear friend, put down the scepter now." Then Akhaten then says, "I don't bow to anyone. Do you know who I am? I am Akhaten, uncrowned king of Egypt." And then Gray interrupts him, saying, "Hold on. You saying you're the great Prince Akhaten? I heard back in the 30s that you got sucked into that gateway. Where's the priest Imhotep? As I know of that story too." "Really? You were there?" said Akhaten. "No, I wasn't. But I was here when this gate was put in this facility." Then you know what happens. I know of the event and that it's coming, and already worlds are beginning to weaken the barriers. Of course, the alignment of our 9 worlds. You'll be wise to stand aside now. I don't think that's going to happen to you. All of our agents here are trained to deal with supernatural. You're an ancient mummy, so what's your weakness, Mercury? Then Akhaten lights his scepter and does a huge thud, having the whole place shake and shimmer, and then he blasts the portal gate, destroying it. Then takes a piece of the gate, a chunk of stone, saying this will stop him from getting to me, at least delay his way from getting to me. Then Gray says, "Listen, you can't do this." "Oh, but watch me. I can, and I will. What is it you found over there in your ancient world with your gods?" "My gods? I did not find my gods. I serve a much greater purpose now. Then Akhaten blows away into a sandstorm and flies up into the atmosphere. Grey then says, "Quick, all of you, out now! Go, go, go!" The whole research facility starts to collapse in on itself, and almost everyone makes it out alive. A few get trapped in the rubble. As for Grey, he then walks out and reaches into his pocket and makes a phone call and says, "Director Griffin, I think it's time. Time to assemble them." Back in London, Dracula sits in his living quarters at the Foundation with a glass of blood, sitting in the middle of a sofa as he looks across and sees his bride, Shelley, laying on her front naked. Dracula then gets up and walks out to the balcony as he looks down on a modern-day London. Then Shelley puts on a robe and tells Dracula, "You need to come back to bed." Dracula then says, "Of course, I will do, my love. So how come it took you all this time to remember your past lives, to the life where you was with me?" "I don't know. But we're together again." "Our son is not." "I know, but he went on to live a full life. I just wish we could have seen it." "Yes." Then Dracula hears a heartbeat, saying, "You know, you really need to work on your invites and knock, Griffin." Griffin then makes himself visible, saying, "Dracula, I would not have intruded on whatever this is you're doing if it wasn't urgent." "What is it?" "I need your help now. That team I told you was putting together. Can't it wait?" "For now it can, but I fear that we're in danger, with the event occurring and rifts already opening. That gate we kept an eye on from that mummy expedition back in the 1930s, something came out of it and it's not good. I had a call about an hour ago from Grey. Still, it's the night time, so I guess enjoy that, but report to the HQ facility at 700 hours. "Very well," said Dracula. "Now, do you mind? I wish to continue making love to my bride." "Of course. Sorry for the interruption again. I'll leave you to it." As Griffin walks off, Dracula then says, "I want to see you leave." "Okay." He then walks on, and then Dracula says, "And leave your clearance card or whatever it is you use to get in." Griffin then reluctantly leaves his card key at Dracula's coffee table and makes his way out. Meanwhile, in the woods, Frankenstein's monster, Adam, stands, waiting patiently. Then, a creature jumps out of nowhere Adam then shoots it head on, and then another creature jumps out. He then gets out a baton from his coat and clobbers the creature, and then fights his way through another horde of monsters, and then kills a werewolf. Then they fade away. Dr. Whale then comes out from a bush saying, "Well done, Adam. Those training skills we taught you have paid off." "Thank you," said Adam. "So, what is all this again for?" "You know this. If you wish to be a field agent, you must learn to defend." "Of course. The last few years have been quite the adjustment, but I've learned fast." "Yes, you do learn fast, don't you? That's one thing I've noticed. I mean, how long did it take you to learn to read and write and talk?" "A few days, a few weeks. A few weeks to read, a few days to talk." It's a shame Frankenstein never understood the full content of his research. If only he could see what it means now. "Yes. I want to thank you, Whale. You gave me a purpose, meaning, and a name and everything. Even the very thing Frankenstein denied me. Of course. Perhaps you should get some rest." Later, Adam returns to his living quarters at the Foundation, where he has a glass of water. Then his bride Eve comes in, saying, "Adam?" "It's all right, Eve. I'm back now." "What have you been doing?" "I've been training." "Of course. Are you coming to bed?" "You know we don't sleep much. That's just how we were made. Plus I slept for over 200 years. "I know. We're the only two of our kind." "I know that. And I don't want it any other way." They then kiss. Then the phone rings. Adam walks over to it and answers. "Hello? Griffin? All right, then I will. Good evening." Eve then asks Adam what it was, Adam telling her that it was a call from Director Griffin, saying that he wants to speak with him and some others in the morning, something about the event happening which they have been preparing for. Meanwhile, elsewhere at the Foundation, Talbot sits with a monk meditating. The monk saying, "You must learn to tame the beast within you." Tame the beast within me. Yes, once you have control of the beast, you can both be one in the same, and then you will no longer need the full moon to transform. I still can't control the transformation in the full moon. I know you can't, but you will be more in control when you do. Yes. Talbot then taps into his mind and envisions the wolf within him. Then, for a split second, his facial hair grows and his ears point, before reverting back to his human-like state. The monk then saying, "You're doing well." And this is what Agent Wagner learnt. Yes. We find that the werewolf and the man are one in the same. They just need to learn to coexist together. But Wagner became corrupted by the beast, didn't he? He grew greedy and abused his authority. I just wish we could have all seen that. Of course, said Talbot. Then he gets a phone call too from Griffin, saying the same thing. He wants to see him in the morning. Then Larry goes back to his living quarters at the Foundation and gets out a steak and blends it and then drinks it raw. Ava Van Helsing, she is then in the gym, training and testing her skills. Then Griffin appears, startling her. And then she then tells Griffin, "Are you fucking insane? I could have killed you, but you didn't. I told you you had this dormant fighting gene in you from your ancestor. Why would I not know this?" Obviously, Abraham Van Helsing didn't want his family and his secret life mixing. But you are the last descendant of his. And also, I think you should get rest. We need to, well, talk in the morning with the others. Again, what is this event? Said Ava. I'll explain all. Just finish your training here and get an early night. It's 10:30 at night, I know. What actually happened, Griffin? An incident happened this evening where something came out of one of the rifts and it wasn't good. Like I said, turn yourself in and I will see you at 700 sharp. Later on that night, the gill man sits in his tank meditating. Then he opens his eyes and swims up to the glass, where he sees Griffin. Then Gillian swims up and comes out of his tank, dripping wet. He then wants to know what Griffin is up to. Griffin then tells him, "I need you to report to the Foundation meeting quarters at 7 a.m. Can you do that? Do you understand me, Gillian?" "I understand you," said Gillian. "Good. Well, I thought I would tell you in person, as you don't seem to use a telephone or anything like that." "Yes." "Well, good night." Later on, Dr. Jekyll sits with a glass of whiskey and a needle with the serum in, hearing voices in his head, evil laughing, ha ha ha, then having vivid visions of what he did when he was Hyde. Then Jekyll has a knock on the door. He then says, "It's open." Walking in, it's Griffin saying, "Dr. Jekyll, please, it's Henry." Then Jekyll grabs the needle and injects himself with the serum as he feels he's losing control. "You know, according to what Mr. Gray has told me, they helped rehabilitate him." "I don't care. He's the reason why I've lost all my life, why I'm in this predicament, why I'm in the future, beyond understanding any of this science. I know, and I'm very sorry about that, said Griffin. Look, I need you. I am not going to let you use him as a weapon again. I'm thinking about blowing my brains out. Then again, when I tried that once, he just spat the bullet out. As I said, I want you purely as a scientific consultant. You and Gray are the only ones that are the founding members remaining of the Foundation, and we can definitely use your expertise in the event, as you were last there. No, he was. When I came round, I was in this weird dimension for days. I hate my life. I hate what I've done to myself. All to see if there is a dormant gene that unleashes our inner evil, and I was right. And now, I wish I could stop it. Henry, try to... No! I'll be at your meeting. I just wish to be on my own for now. I don't know how to get this box thing working. It's called a television. And you press that button on the remote. It'll turn it on. Thank you. Try and get some sleep. You know I can't, in case he comes in. And I've already told you. We're monitoring it, and we will make sure that it doesn't. Good night, Jack. Then Griffin leaves Jekyll to wallow on his own. The next morning, they all gather around a table, as Griffin then shows on a projection screen, saying, "So, as you are aware, once in a century, or sometimes rarely twice, the planets align, causing barriers between worlds to weaken, and things may come through these rifts. We call it the event. Now, usually something bad always occurs. Now, I will leave you in the hands of Mr. Dorian Gray," said Griffin. Dorian Gray then steps up and says, "Of course. So as you know, the event is triggered by the alignment of the planets. We believe it's some mechanism that was caused by the gods millennia ago. But last time this happened was in the early 1900s, where Dr. Jekyll's darker half forced a creature back in to this dimension, and the portal closed behind him, having him assumed dead, but we now know that he was lost. Do I need any more reminding?" said Dr. Jekyll. "But anyway, at exactly 2000 hours, or around that time last night, the gate that we had been monitoring, the Stargate, opened and released a dark pharaoh, well, the dark prince of Egypt, Akhaten. The whole story goes is that his father chose his priest and advisor to be the next pharaoh and not him, and according to the stories, that brought him into a jealous rage where he framed his priest Imhotep, and, well, he wanted the throne for himself. He got that, and, well, let's just say he's reigned it at last long. But in 1932, at an expedition, they awoken them, the mummies Imhotep and Akhaten. Akhaten tried with all his might to open a rift between his dimension and the god's dimension, and, well, failed. Imhotep dragged himself in and stopped him. and we fear that he is now free. We don't know where Imhotep is, but all we know is he's planning something, and he's going to use the event to do this. Dracula then asks, I thought the Foundation's job here was to make sure we don't exist. It was. It still is, but people have made technological advancements in the last century. Ava then saying, yeah, like our phone. I knew monsters were real. I used to go on ghost hunts as a teenager. We just try to capture whatever we could. Now I know all those videos are not fake that I've seen on the internet. Yes, the internet. A very complex world, said Dracula. Anyway, I now know it's all real. And why I've had this instinct of knowing it all this time. Adam then says, but we should all be prepared for this. It's what I've been trained for. It's what we've all been prepared for. What about that Gil thing? What's he got to bring to the table? I am a fighter. I can use my tactic skills. How old are you, by the way? I heard that you were found in the 70s. I have a slower metabolism than humans. I age slower. Right. Yes. Well, if I might interrupt, said Dr. Jekyll. This event is not good. I'm not gonna fight this time, or the other me isn't gonna fight. I'm keeping him repressed. It's not a good idea to repress it. You know this, Henry. Oh, shut up, Gray. You're not a scientist. You don't know what's what. But I know that keeping that at bay, you can't control forever. Yeah, of course. And you shouldn't really be drinking in the daylight. It's the only thing that gets me by. I haven't had time to adjust like you have. I'm not fucking immortal. Anyway, these rifts are going to open and unleash all kinds of hell. I just hope you lot can fight it. I can consult, I can talk with you, whatever, but I'm not letting him out. I'm sorry, what? Said Dracula. He's on about his other half. Then Lawrence walks in. Mr. Talbot, I believe. You reek of werewolf. Yeah, well, you're not so good bad yourself. Bloodsucker. Now, gentlemen, please, I know that vampires and werewolves do not get on, but please focus here. You know, I've been learning some meditation methods which could help you. It's not like lycanthropy. What I did was something more dangerous, more deadly. Then, at this event in London, at a museum, Akhaten observes everything, disguising as a modern-day person. He then pulls out the scepter, taking on his true outfit, and then awakening all the mummified people in the museum, grabbing everyone around. People think that it's part of the show, as this new exhibition is being presented, but it isn't. Akhaten then says to the civilians, all of you, I am Akhaten, and you will worship me. So kneel. At the Foundation, One of the agents reports to Griffin saying that there's been some unusual activity at the British History Museum. Griffin then says, "That's our cue, come on." "Very well, I'll get into my armor then," said Dracula. At the museum, people think it's all an act, part of the show. One of the security guards asks the curator, "Is this part of the exhibition?" "No, it is not." "Excuse me, but I did not hire any actors." "Actors?" said Akhaten. "I am not an actor. I am Akhaten, uncrowned king of Egypt, the king that should have ruled." "Oh, Akhaten, there's not much proof of his existence." "Believe me, I am real." "Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is not part of the show. Please carry on observing the exhibits and get these actors that are dressed as these mummies to go back and place the actual mummies in the tombs that we have on display." "It is no display." Akhaten then zaps the curator, sucking the life out of him till he is none other than a dried up old corpse. Then Akhaten demands that everybody kneels before him. One man standing says, No, this is all part of the show. It's all a show, it's an act." "It is not an act, and I advise you to bow to me, Akhaten, the rightful king." Then a voice says, Even to this day, people cannot make peace with anything." Dracula, in his armor, then removes his helmet, saying, "So are you this Akhaten prince or whatever? And who may you be?" "My name is Count Dracula, Prince of Romania. I was known as Vlad the Impaler a long time ago." People gasping, wondering what the hell is going on. Then Adam appears saying, "You should not be doing this. Why don't you just calm down now and surrender?" "Yes, please do," said Ava Van Helsing. "Or you'll suffer greatly and you don't want to see my bad half," said Talbot. The Gillman appears. People gasping, going, "What the hell is this? What's going on here?" said one person. "It is all right." "What are you going to do?" "What are you all here, some kind of group of monsters, a monster squad?" "Yes." Dracula then puts on his helmet and says, "You will surrender now." "Really? And what are you going to do?" "I have the magic of the gods and of another ancient evil, and you will be wise to not challenge me." Then Adam pulls a trigger, shooting Akhaten in the hand, dropping the spear, and he goes, "Ah! What is that?" "Mercury bullets. I heard that you lot are allergic to that kind, and they're good for storing away. Now, are you going to surrender, or do I need to put one in your head?" "Very well, then. I surrender." Then a Foundation field agent then says, "Calling some of the psychics, we're going to have some time erasing people's minds." Then, on a jet plane, Akhaten sits quietly, as if he's savouring something, as the Dracula, Lawrence, Adam, Ava, and Gillian keep an eye on him. Then, all of a sudden, one of the pilots flying the plane says, "Something's not right here." "What do you mean?" "I don't know, something's clogging up the vents." "What are you talking about?" "Oh God,
We're not crashing, are we? On my first mission, said Ava. No, just calm down. These machines, I never trusted them. I always feel if man was destined to fly, God would have given them wings, or at least me the supernatural powers that I hold. Then Akhaten says, I am not keen of what follows next. Then, all of a sudden, the jet flies into a sandstorm, and the sand makes its way in through the vents of the jet engines, forming Imhotep, the mummy. Imhotep then grabs Akhaten and breaks out from the back of the jet and jumps out with Akhaten. Dracula then says, we must go. Dracula then shifts into a flock of bats, whilst Adam plans to follow. Talbot then hands him a parachute, saying, you put it on your back, remember? Oh, yes, I was told about these. Thank you, Mr. Talbot. Then Ava then says, I'm not really prepared for jumping. I'm still learning. Fine, said Lawrence. You stay here and keep an eye on the pilots. You too, Gilman. Yes, too dry. Makes me weak. Then Adam and Larry jump on the parachutes. Meanwhile, Akhaten then lands in the English countryside where Imhotep finds him. Imhotep then saying, you thought you could stop me by destroying that gate. Oh, don't worry, I still plan to open the rifts. I mean, wake the dead, cause chaos. I still have a part of the gate, that's all I need. That's all he showed me. Again, who showed you? You know, it's been only weeks or days for us, as it's been over decades with this world. It's not the same as we once saw it. We didn't live in that world long enough to see the modernization. Now, you will stop this, Akhaten. You will come to the afterworld with me. You will be judged by the gods. Oh, the gods don't care about us. We lost faith in them a long, long time ago. I don't plan to return to the realm of the dead. This is our new world, the world of the living. We will unleash chaos and hell. Of course you will. But I'm going to stop you. I have my skills and magic. Ah, of course you do. And what will you do with that great priest? You will stop this now and die, said Dracula. Who are you? I am Dracula. Then, landing within their parachutes, Lawrence takes off his, and Adam gets covered in his, going, something's wrong, I can't get out. It's alright, it's just a parachute. Come on. I don't think Dracula is far from here and that of a mummy. Then Imhotep then says, look, this is something I have to deal with. I don't know who you are. I am working for the Foundation, said Dracula. The Foundation? You know the Foundation? Yes, I do. It's still around? Yes, it is. Anyway, we want this prince. You want the prince? Does this Griffin people still run the Foundation? Someone called Griffin does, yes. Then he gets pounced on by a wolf-like creature. Then Lawrence, now in his wolf form, then says, you should not have taken him. Then Adam appears with a gun pointing towards Akhaten. I don't know what this is, dogman. I'm not a dogman, I'm a wolf man. And I'm at peace with my inner wolf for now. But you don't want to make him mad. You're just lucky it isn't a full moon, said Larry. I am not here to fight you. I'm here to stop him, Akhaten. It's all right, he knows of the Foundation, said Dracula. The Foundation? Yes, you are all people that are of that place? We are. Then you are my allies. We need to stop him from causing chaos. I don't know exactly where he went during our time in them realms, but he got up to something and it wasn't good. We know that. Gentlemen, would it just make things easier if I merely surrender? Okay then, said Dracula. They then head back to the Foundation. In the jet that lands and picks them up, Akhaten then remembers what he was doing in the realm of the dead. Not long after him and Imhotep went into the Stargate, they fought things out before Akhaten fell and went into another void, where it was an underworld of fire and pain and misery. There he wandered this world, and then he was approached by some horned being. Only seeing a silhouette of this being, him saying, "Do you want to rule?" Yes. Akhaten then remembers fondly, as if he has a plan up his sleeve. They then take Akhaten into custody and lock him and chain him up and have him stand in a pool of mercury so that he doesn't move. Then Akhaten says, "You enjoy your get-together, monsters." What are we going to do with him? Right now, we will hear what Imhotep has to say. Then Griffin meets Imhotep, saying, "Wow, the great Imhotep. You know me. I know a lot of stories about you. It's an honor to meet you. But, of course, you know how to deal with this Akhaten?" "I do, and we can stop him." "Good. Well, looks like we're all here. Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, the Mummy, the Gillman, Van Helsing, and Dr. Jekyll. Yes, of course. Fine, whatever. You look like you're at conflict with yourself, It's Dr. Henry Jekyll. And yes, I do have a part of me that is not keen." Then Jekyll hears a laughing and a cackle in his voice. As for Akhaten in his cell, he then plans something as his eyes glow, and then smiles sinisterly, saying, "Showtime." A rift then opens where a Foundation agent is guarding. Then a black mist comes out of it and possesses the agent, it being a demon, going up to Akhaten's container and releasing him from his chains. He then walks out and says, "Right then, you keep everyone busy while I get the other part that I missed." Akhaten then makes his way to another room. Meanwhile, another rift opens, unleashing same demon forces. Meanwhile, back at the meeting room, Imhotep tells them all about Akhaten and what he is capable of, but also mentioning that whatever happened when he lost him in fighting, he went to some dimension, some evil place, but does not know where. Then, all of a sudden, the alarms go off, letting off a breach. Some of the guards shooting and killing some of the others, thinking, what the hell's going on? I don't know, but it doesn't look good, said Gray. Then Dorian Gray steps in upon one of the agents and says, what's going on here? Then the possessed guard shoots Gray in the head. Then Gray gets back up again saying, ouch, that really hurt. Stop this now. How are you possessed? You shouldn't be possessed. You had exorcism training. We are not the regular sort of demons that you toy with. Then, shooting Gray again in the head. The whole building then goes into lockdown. All of a sudden, Jekyll feels something happening. He then looks at his reflection in the glass of his whiskey, and a shadow figure saying, come on, Henry, let me out. I'll have a little play around. No, said Henry. Jekyll then grabs his syringe with serum in. Then the doors are opened, and a possessed guard comes in, shooting all around, and even knocks out the serum out of Hyde's hand, and it smashes. Then Larry wolfs up and rips out of his shirt, becoming the Wolfman as he fights this guard. Roaring in its face, the demon then leaves the guard's body, the guard asking what the hell happened. Meanwhile, Van Helsing then says, Dr. Jekyll, are you alright? Dr. Jekyll then says, no, get away. I need my serum. I need to get back to my lab. Jekyll then loses control as he staggers to the lab with chaos unleashed everywhere. People firing left, right and centre. Even some of the guards release some other monsters that are contained at the Foundation, also causing chaos and confusion. Dracula then starts fighting along with all the others, taking the form of his bat forms and his wolf forms. As for Adam, he starts to fight too, and so does Gilman, along with Imhotep, saying, we must not let Akhaten get what he wants. Meanwhile, Van Helsing helps Dr. Jekyll get to the lab, where he tries to get his serum, and just as he gets in reach of it, he loses control. Ava then says, are you alright? No, get away! I need the serum, said Henry. Dr. Jekyll then loses control as his hair turns thick and whitens. His nails become claw-like, and his hands start to grow green and scaly. He then gets behind a desk, and Van Helsing asks, Dr. Jekyll? Dr. Jekyll? Then a hand reaches from the desk and scratches it. Coming out, he then says in a strong Cockney voice, no, Henry Jekyll, only Mr. Hyde. Revealing a green scaly face, red eyes, and razor-sharp teeth. He then starts to fight Ava, going, it's been ages since I was out of here. Few days, maybe. Although for this world I understand that it's been centuries according to Henry's memory.
Then Ava starts to fight Hyde, but finds that she is no match for him as he is strong and powerful. Then Hyde walks into the chaos going, "Ah, dear, oh dear, what's going on around here then, hey? Monsters unleashed." Then Mr. Hyde sees a serpent-like creature and quickly gets in and starts fighting it as he punches its eyes out. All chaos ensues until the witches from the department come out and start to contain and control the creatures and start to exorcise the demons out of the guards. Meanwhile, Akhaten makes his way to another locked room where he finds a stone tablet. Yes, with this tablet and this chunk of the gate, I can unleash hell on earth. No, you won't, said Imhotep. Ah, of course. You trying to stop me, hmm? Well, good luck with that. I am going to enjoy this. As a voice cleared his throat, then, making himself visible, is Griffin. I can't let you do that, Mr. Akhaten. I thought you surrendered. It was all a ruse. I needed another piece to make this piece of the gate that I took work, and now that I have it, I can get to work. What do you mean? Oh, you'll see. You'll all see. Then Akhaten breaks out into a sandstorm. Imhotep soon follows. And then Griffin makes himself invisible as he hears a creature that's being contained coming. Meanwhile, as all the monsters get put back into their cells, then Griffin finds that Dr. Jekyll has become Mr. Hyde. Dracula approaches him saying, "So you are this person that Jekyll is hiding from us?" "Yes," said Mr. Hyde. Being slightly taller but muscular, he then says, "My name is Mr. Edward Hyde, the dark, evil side of Henry Jekyll." Of course, he refuses to accept me as a part of him, but I am his inner monster. No, he's been repressing me. It was all bound to come out at some point. Whoever caused this chaos, I've got to owe it to him. I never really thought I'd get out of here. Then Hyde gets pierced by a syringe, injected with the serum by Van Helsing, going, What did you just do? You snaky little cat." Then Hyde begins to lose control as he shrinks down a few feet, and his white hair becomes thick, lengthened, and dark, and he loses his scales and claws and turns back into Dr. Henry Jekyll, saying, "Thank you, Van Helsing. Thank you." Meanwhile, Akhaten then stops, running in the form of a sandstorm at top of a tall skyscraper building. Imhotep also stops and says, "You can't do this. We won't let you." Oh, Imhotep, you have no idea the hell I endured during our time locked away. You see, I know what my true purpose is. The end. For a new beginning, an end has to happen. "You're talking about an apocalyptic event," said Imhotep. "Indeed. I am. Now, I'm going to offer you something here. Join me. Join me in my pursuit, and we can rule alongside him. Who? Well, the great evil one, of course. Then a demon jumps out, flying along with Imhotep in his grasp. The creature then grabs Imhotep by the neck and starts to destroy him until Akhaten shouts to the demon to stop. The demon then throws Akhaten from the tall building, where he lands in a small London street. The demon then flies up to Akhaten, saying, I got your message. Of course, the event is coming in, and the worlds are weakening, and soon your master will be able to walk. You say he feeds on conflict? The conflict between supernatural beings and natural beings. But once our existence is known to the world, then he may grow strong to walk this planet. Of course, you actually are fully physically here. You don't need a human vessel. I'm a strong demon. And with the rifts opening, more of us will fall through. Of course. Well, I've got this tablet, which is the key to opening the hell portal, and this chunk of the gate. We can begin. Good. Go and find more of your demons. We must prepare for the event, as it is coming. The sun then begins to eclipse the earth as darkness takes over.